Yeah, so before starting this today's agenda, so let's try to recollect it, what we were understanding yesterday, and then we go ahead. Today, this hands-on, we start about that with Python. Yeah, yesterday main thing setting up the Python, some brief history which we are understanding. History like a point, understand that the Python is having the main two versions, that is a Python 2 and a Python 3. But Python 2, that is, almost like old applications they are using, but latest point of view, the Python 3 is recommended. But if you know the Python 3 and you can easily handle that, Python 2 as well as. So we are going to focus on the Python 3. So that was one conclusion which we are trying to understand that. So from the history point of view, like 1919 it was started, and 2008 3 was launched into the market. Then we were understanding installation of the Python. Install of the Python, how many distributions we have? One, we can say this directly the Python distribution, where we can identify the Windows or the Mac OS or the Linux based distributions, and we can download it and we can use it. But make sure that whatever the Python you are installing, that Python path variable has to be set up that. Yeah, this is one approach which we are trying to understand. And second approach which we are trying to use it that as the latest libraries and the frameworks to use it easily to create separate environments. So Anaconda is that. So one more the type of the distribution. So this is during learning time or R&D times. So this is the recommended as which is supporting that not only to run the Python code, and we can create a documentation on it as well as. Yes, we are observing that code executions and as well as markdown creations, empty files creations. Yeah, there are the two distributions which are using that. And if it is the Python distribution, you can, how do we run the program? Next, coming to that, the running the program, once the Python has been installed, how do we run the Python programs is, yes, we can use it command line. As we are using that, you can use it the terminal, if it is the Mac OS or the Linux OS, and if it is the Linux operating system, you can use the command prompt. Yes, terminal and command prompt, we can use it, and we can run the command like this. So Python, now if you run it, it is going to start the Python interpreter, right? So this is the terminal based approach. Terminal or command prompt you are using. Yes, open the command prompt and run that the Python. Then it starts the Python interpreter where you can run about your Python statements. So that is one approach which you are trying to understand. And another approach, yes, you can use that text editors, which are available in the market. Like these are all like normal editors, like Notepad, you can use it, or Notepad++, or Sublime text editor, or yes, Atom, or Visual Studio Code. So there are like a different the text editors which are available. So, but what is the purpose of this? I mean, what is the beauty of this text editor is you can, I mean, this is not only specific to the Python. Suppose parallelly you are working with the Python or YAML files, JSON files, or configuration files of the project, or HTML files, then you can use it these type of editors. But once, if you're creating this any Python scripts, so what is the file extension that you need to save it that, the file? What is the Python file extension? With the .py extension, right? Yes. So if you are using these text editors, Yes, you can open like as, I mean, this is, yes, normal editor. And yesterday we were talking about it. Yes, my first program. Yes, you can use it, these text editors, whatever you prefer it. And you can write the statements of the Python, but file extension must be .py. So that is, we are trying to understand that. There is that. Okay. Yeah, save the file in the .py file extension. And then you need to run it these Python scripts. So open the terminal or command prompt. Or some of those editors where you can directly run it within the editors by adding that extension. But command line prompt, yes, if you'd like to run it, so open the command prompt or terminal, then use it this command Python and that Python script .py. Yes, whatever the file you have, that file you can pass it and you can execute the Python scripts. Implementation point of view, you can use these editors, but execution of the Python scripts, once the Python script is ready, then you can open the terminal or the command prompt and you can execute the script. This is through the text editors. So third approach, what do we have? This is we can use it to specific IDEs, or we can say that especially the Python IDEs. Even that Atom or Visual Studio Code, these are also, we say that IDE, Integrated Development Environment. But specific to the Python editors are also available in the market. The best example is PyCharm editor, or Spider. So these are all some IDEs which are available. These are all, especially you can use it only for the Python implementation. Yes, you can save the file .py. And you can use this editor itself to, you can run the programs or execute the program in editor itself. Yeah, so this is like specific to the IDEs. So there's a PyCharm or Spider which are available in the market. So like you will get it in some example PyCharm. So this is specific to the Python implementation. The way you can add that Python compiler. Yes, this distribution, whatever we are installing that on the system, or you can use it on Conda also. But yes, the Python distribution, you can install it and you can add it, or you can configure that Python in the IDE, and you can implement the files and you can execute the Python scripts. So within IDE itself. So this is third approach. There are like different approaches. So finally executing that or running the program. And the next approach, what do we have? This is, as we are trying to understand that, Jupyter Notebooks. Jupyter Notebooks. Yes, you can, I mean, how to get this one? So use it on Conda, or you can find it directly the Jupyter software also. If you search it in the Google, yes, download the Jupyter. Yes, you can download the Jupyter. But if you download that only Jupyter, then you need to use it about your Python distribution. Because Jupyter is not, I mean, that software is not included with the Python interpreter. So Python is different. Python installation or interpreter is different. And the notebooks, there's a Jupyter is different. But if I use it on Conda, so this is the combination of that Jupyter. I'll get the Jupyter plus Python distribution. I don't need to install separately the Python. But remaining all the cases, yes, you need to have this about your Python distribution. But if I use it on Conda, I'm going to get that IDE. Jupyter is an IDE. IDE, I'm getting that. And as well as this is going to have that inbuilt Python distribution. So that is advantage. Both you are going to have in single software. But if you use the Python distribution, but to implement it, either you need to use the text editors or the Python IDEs. Yeah, you can use it the Jupyter notebooks by installing that with Anaconda, and then you can launch the Jupyter. Let me give that the quick steps. So then launch the Jupyter. Then it starts the cells and everything. And then you can implement the program, implement statements. Let me talk it in this way, statements, and run those statements in the cells. But what is the, like, once all the cells have been defined, and if you'd like to save that file, what is the file extension here? So Jupyter is having the concept of the notebooks. So what is the file extension of this Jupyter notebooks? That is IPython notebook. Yeah, file extension of Jupyter. Jupyter notebooks. Let me have that more clarity. See, .py files, you can open that in any text editor. But Jupyter notebooks, which are having this file extension, you cannot use it in the normal editors. You should use it only Jupyter notebook. Yeah, so are you clear about this? The conclusion of that yesterday, the overall, the activities which we are trying to understand, the install in the Python and run in the Python. Is it clear? And any confusion now? Just confirm this. So CLR in the chat window. Otherwise, I mean, let me know that if you have any queries, questions in the chat window. Then we'll continue to this next point. All good, good. That's great. CLR. Okay. Yeah, be active. I mean, be active in the chat window. That helps me to understand how you're actively participating in the class. So that gives more energy to me. Okay, so good. So that is a conclusion about Python, but still we have that one more approach to run the program. It is not yet completed. Oh, how many ways we can run it. So yes, that is the next one is, so which we can say that if you'd like to run the Python programs, we say that no install approach. No install approach. So what is this no install approach? Yeah, we don't want to, I mean, suppose if you're facing the problems with the Python to run in your local system, or if you didn't install the Python in your local system, suppose you are going to attend the interview. And some of the interviewers, they ask you like, do you have the Python environment in your system? But you don't have, and you said that, no, I don't have. But they would like to test about your programming skills, and they ask you that, yeah, use it any one of the Python interpreter, and let's implement so the sample example program. They give that some scenario and they ask you to write the program. So if we don't have those in our system, then are you going to start that to install the Python in our system? No, you don't need to use it. You can use it online Python interpreters. Online Python interpreter. Yeah, so you can browse it in Google, the online interpreters, and you can let me open the browser. Yeah, suppose the same Jupyter, if you'd like to use it that. So if you go for this, the Jupyter, the official site, Jupyter Notebook, official site. I mean, this is not the Anaconda. You see that Anaconda is giving that internal Jupyter software. But if you need the Jupyter separately, yes, you can install, you can download it, the Jupyter, and you can install it. But Jupyter, if you directly install it, it is not going to have the Python compiler. So you need to, externally, you need to use it, the Python distribution. Yeah, that is the Python, Jupyter you can directly install in your system. But if you'd like to use it online, I don't want to install that Jupyter or Anaconda in my local system, but I would like to use it, the online itself. Then you have the jupyter.org/try. So try Jupyter, use about, their tools without installing anything. That means you need to have the just internet. This is required internet. Remaining all the cases, we don't need that the internet until that any application specific to run it internally. But this one, so Jupyter try, which is having that online dependency. Yeah, so here you can see this, you can try the Jupyter Lab, the latest web-based interactive development environment, or you can directly use the Jupyter Notebook. These are all some labs it is given that. So instead of that, yes, you can start with the Jupyter Notebook or Jupyter Lite. I mean, they have the different the products, you can find it. But Python to run it, yes, go ahead the Jupyter Notebook. And whatever we are trying to use it in our local system, so we are installing the Python, that is Jupyter, and launch it, that's right. The same way here also you can go ahead and you can, so you can see that like some documentation they have given that. But if you'd like to run the code, yes, you can change that to the code, and you can go ahead and running that or creating a cell. So create a cell. So Python, that's fine. Let's go ahead. Where is this? Just let me create a new cell. Yeah, you can create a cell and you can run it as we are trying to understand that yesterday about that print statement or whatever you would like to implement it. Yes, without installing in our local system, and you can try to use this online editor. So remaining commands, whatever we are talking, that is Control Enter to execute it, or Shift Enter to execute the program. That is not executing. Let me just clean up. What's happened? Yeah, okay. So maybe this is slow response it is given that. Okay, fine, good. So yeah, so whenever you run it, yes, here itself you can see that output. Yesterday, whatever we are doing that's in the local system, you can use that the Jupyter try option, and you can choose that like creating a cells here, and you can run it about your Python statements, and you can execute those Python statements here itself, and you can get that output. So this is, where we didn't do that in our local system, anything about the Python installation. But if you'd like to run, or if you'd like to test some kind of statements, yes, you can quickly use this Jupyter try. Not only the Jupyter, and if you go to that, the Python itself. So Python official site. Welcome to python.org. And here you see this in the Python homepage itself, they have given that, the Python console. So launch interactive shell. It is yesterday we were launching the Python shell, right, in our local system. So this is about the Jupyter, how we are launching that in the local system. So the same way you can use it online. And next one, the Python, the command line prompt. So whatever we were launching this in our local system with the Python distribution and command prompt. So that is, you can do that directly in the Python official site. You see this here, I'm writing that the statements of the program. So Python itself is providing that. If you need that normal command prompt, you can use it this. Or if you need that like a Jupyter notebooks, yes, you can try that online itself. So if you like to practice it, you don't need to install in your system about the Python. This one we say that no install approach. So is it clear about this? But these files, like whenever you are going to use this and saving the files, but accessing and storing that, that is something it is online, right? Yeah, once these are all ready, you can try to download these scripts. You can find it somewhere, the download section. So once this, you can download that, those IPyNB files, and you can use it in your local system. You see that this file has been downloaded. Once this file is ready, and you can download it and you can reuse it in some other contexts. Yeah, this is about online approach, and we can say that no install approach. Are you clear about this? But recommended is install in your system and work with that. So online editors are just like a temporary. If you like to, suppose you are facing the interview and they ask you that, like, do you have that any Python environment? So those cases you can use it, these online, but whenever you are practicing that's about our regular activities, then go ahead and install that locally and use that. Are you clear about these points? There is one more approach. So you have the Jupyter Notebooks online, and as well as the Python command line prompt that is online. Both you can get it online. And you can find it some other third-party one, which are the limited, the Python execution statement they have given that, but don't try to use it online. Because internal, like you, suppose whenever we are practicing, okay, but you joined in the organization, but organization you are implementing that for the project, the code, that code, if you take it and if you put it in the online, that is security violation. You should not do. About our project code, using this in the online or submitting to that. Suppose you are running that any command is nothing but backend. This is getting stored in the Jupyter, right? Jupyter server. So it is not recommended to use it online editors until there is a specific reason. Reason in the sense that is temporarily, if you need to run that programs, you can use it online. Yeah, so that is about the one more approach. We can call this one as no install. Are you clear about that? All these approaches? Online Python interpreter, you can use it. And another approach is Jupyter try. Jupyter.org/try. Okay, so that's about setting about your environment to run the programs. There are the different approaches, but finally getting the result of the program is important. Which approach you are using that is on the basis of what you are comfortable, but recommended is, so using that text editors or the Python IDEs or Jupyter Notebooks. Yeah, Jupyter Notebooks, there are like advanced the libraries to manage it. and yeah, the supported frameworks to use it. This is the recommended. But if you have those like normal in the Python programs and Python programs to run it, yeah, so the normal, this is recommended. Yeah, let me share this, the content in the chat window. You can save and you can refer that, the content. I've got it this. Yeah, save that content. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. So let's continue to this next point. Yeah, so now we start the Python. But first, okay, let me use a Jupyter try. I mean, not Jupyter try, I'm going to use it, the Jupyter, as we were using that yesterday's the installation. So let me continue in the browser. Yeah, so Anaconda Navigator, you know that how do we launch it? And yes, I mean, you can go to that like a run program and you can use it, Anaconda Navigator, to launch it. And after launching the Anaconda Navigator, yes, here the Jupyter. So let's launch the Jupyter. As we're understanding that the Jupyter that starts in the local browser. Still it is not yet launched, so I'm waiting for it. Yeah, so now it has been opened, that the Jupyter, the notebooks. Fine, yesterday we were creating that, yes, some sample directory, and we are observing that my first program, some, yes, some notebooks we have prepared. Now let's continue from here. The first we'll try to understand that. Let me talk it about that. Yes, this was yesterday which we are trying to use it. Okay, this is my first program. Let me create the one more, the new playbook. Let's go back and in the my Python samples, how to create a new notebook. You can go to the new option and Python 3. And it is showing that untitled notebook. So you can give that the name. So here we are going to talk it today, the print statement. Yeah, what is a print statement? Already we are observing that the print statement. So the concept. So let's have it. So what do you understand with this statement? That is my point. So let me use it single quotations. Yesterday we were using this statement. What do you understand about this? So do you remember that any concepts which we discussed earlier? So here print I'm using is nothing but, you see this, it is started with a parenthesis and ended with a parenthesis and with a argument. So it is kind of the function or not? Can we say this is the function or not? Yes. So the print is the function, but that function, what it is, I mean, so in which context we use it, this function? To print some text or like whatever the content you have, that content to print to the console, we are going to use this inbuilt function. This is the function. So we were talking that the functions, how do we use it? It starts with like a parenthesis and ends with the parenthesis, and with arguments or without arguments. Yeah, if you are trying to understand this simple statement, yes, we are using. So we are using this print statement to print the content, and indirectly we are invoking the print function. Okay, but what is the content we have passed to this function? Yes, that is something hello world text. But text, what do we call in the programming? So this one we can say that some string. The string which we can say that. Okay, this is a hello world is a string which you have passed to this the print function. Good, fine. But in this the function, whenever I'm trying to use this, suppose by mistake, so let me copy this statement, and if I use this, suppose I miss it that like the complete function name, so something prnt. Is it valid or invalid one? So if I try to run this one, so it is giving that name error. So what is this name error? PRNT is not defined. That means it is checking that background, what it is doing, it is checking about it. PRNT function, is it available in any one of the library or not? But this is available, but this one is not available. And it is throwing the error saying about it, name PRNT is not defined. So whenever you are invoking the functions about inbuilt function or about our custom functions, this is about inbuilt. Python has been given. We didn't implement anything. So we have the inbuilt functions which are providing that by the Python. But how it is providing this is libraries. The backend, whenever we install the Python and it is install the Python libraries, in that library, these functions are available. Base Python libraries, this function is available, and you can use this function wherever it is required in your Python statements. But whenever you are invoking the function, this one will say that calling the function or invoking the function. That function name and the function, is it having that arguments or not? Yes, you need to properly define that. Then only we will get the result. Otherwise, if it is anything missed, then it is throw that error. Then how do you understand that error is? Yes, here you see that with red mark, name PRNT is not defined. So this is the description of that, or stack trace, we call it stack trace in the programming terminology. So we call it this one as a stack trace of this error. Then how do I solve this one, or how do I fix this one? So have that the valid function name and have that valid arguments passing to the function. Then it is going to executing that. This is the first point which we need to understand. That with the print command, you see that a lot of information we got it. So print is inbuilt function, and which is expecting as arguments. But what is the functionality of this print is? Yes, whatever the content you have presented, that's it is trying to print it to the console. It is executing this function, and whatever that the content you passed, and it is writing to the command output or console. Okay, that is about function wise which you are trying to understand. Now let's talk about it argument which are passing to this function. So hello world is the string which we are passing, and yes, print is executing, and okay, so whatever you have given, it is trying to print to this terminal. But how do you say that this is the string, or is it a text? Normally, yes, the data type wise, we say the string that is recommended instead of saying the text. You see that here, this has been encoded with a single quotation, or you can use the double quotation also, no issues. So the content which has been encoded with a single quotation or double quotation, that's we say the string. Either you can use it single quotation or a double quotation. But string representation point of view in the Python, single quotation is recommended. That is a processor execution time point of view. Yes, loading point of view. So single quotation is recommended instead of using the double quotation. Either one you can use it, no issues. But as a best standard programming point of view, whenever you are defining the string content, yes, use it the single quotation. Are you following everyone? We got the keywords, that is the function and function related arguments. And here the string is the argument which are passing to the print, but what is the print operation? Yes, as we are trying to understand that, like the function is a group of statements which is going to provide some output. But what is the print function is providing is, yes, what are the content you are passing or what are the argument you are passing to the print, it is returning back to the console output. That is implemented by the Python community. Okay, good. Now in this string, now I'm going to move into this more talking on this string data type. So we are using the print built-in function, and we are going to use that. The more on this, let me define now. I need that the string format, fine. I am writing Python program. Some content I would like to print it. So here, if I try to run it, no issues. I got that output. But normally, whenever we talk it the program, okay, let me just change this. Okay, normally whenever we write the English statement, so we don't use it I am separately. We use it with the single quotation, and I am writing with the Python program, right? This is normal single statement. I mean, English statements which we use it. And I would like to get in this format instead of this. Then if I try to run it, what's happened? So if I try to execute this program, so what's going to happen that? Is it valid or invalid? So it is invalid. Let me run it thus, and you see that. So even it is not printing that I. So some people, yes, it is, I mean, you are mentioning that it is a printing that I. No, it is not printing that I. It is saying about it unterminated string literal syntax error. So what is the kind of before? I mean, understand that all these errors. So here the name error. That means, I mean, in which line it is showing that, you can just go to that and refer that what is the name you have given, check the names. Sometimes we do the typo, the mistakes in the spellings. So if you see this name error, then check it about that function name. And here syntax error, it is saying that. Yes, that means yes, like, yeah, whenever I use it, single quotation, so it is terminating here itself. But actually we have this one more single quotation. Then how do you handle this one? How do you handle this one? So you can use it, suppose within that about your output, and if you would like to print a single quotation, then use it that the string starting with that or encoding within the double quotation. So with the double quotation, yes. Now double quotation has been started here and it has been ended here. but within this, the program you are, within that content or within the string, you are using that single quotation. No issues. Now you can run it and we are able to get that output, whatever we are expecting that. Fine, but what was the statement we were giving that the before? Use that in the strings single quotation. That is the best standard approach, but we can use that double quotation also. But here I have used the double quotation, but as a better standard to give it, I need to change this one to that the single quotation. How do I do that now? Now I would like to use the same statement, but I would like to fix the issue. So this is a statement I would like to use it and I would like to fix the issue. Then how do I do that? So we have the concept of escape characters, right? Escape characters. Now, so this, the single quotation, actually it is representing that the string starting and ending, but I would like to use it, this single quotation for my, it is not a special character. This is about string character. So how do I instruct it to the interpreter? No, don't use it this as a special character and use this as a normal character, English character, or like, the keyboard character, instead of that Python special character. That's we say that escape characters. So now if I use it the backward slash before that, that's the special character. Now the Python interpreter is going to understand, okay, I should not use it this single quotation as a special character, and it is like as a normal keyboard character, as a string character. Now if I run this program, yes, now I have implemented with the single quotation itself, and whatever that output I am expecting, I got it that. Is it clear at this point? So now we got it here that escape characters. Yes, some special characters, whenever you are using that, you need to use the escape characters. But yes, we'll go for that more the later. But yes, so this is just we started understanding with the Python. This Python with a print function. And we are working this now on the string content, string data type. Are you good done this now? Shall I continue to the next or any queries, questions? So just let me know that. Okay, next I would like to write it. Can you hear me, everyone? Is it audible? I don't see this any response. Okay, good, fine. Now let me continue this next one more the scenario. Okay, I would like to write that the string as I'm writing the Python program and I'm having the fun while writing the Python program, and I'm having the fun. That is the statement I would like to print it. Suppose, can I use it one more print statement here? Like saying that and having the fun. So I'm writing the Python program and having the fun. So can I do like this? So here, as we are understanding, this is one statement and this is another statement. Can I define the two statements in the single line? So if I try to execute it, yes, you got the error saying about it, syntax error and invalid syntax. So in the single line, you cannot define more than one statement. So if you like to write like this, two prints, then what you need to do is use that enter keyword and write in the next line. So now I'm writing the Python program and having the fun. I got it, that's that output. But my intention was, so this one also should be in the same line. then what I can do that. So this is one string and this is another string. I would like to concatenate two strings. How do I do this? Yeah, simple. What we can do is, yeah, the plus, yes, we can use it, that concatenation. But in the print statement, the simple approach, what do you have to say is, so this is one string which you can end it. And you can start that like one more argument, multiple arguments you can pass it to the print. So now this is one argument I am passing that, comma, and I am going to pass the second argument also. That is with this content. Yeah, now I got it. Yes, I'm writing the Python program and having the fun. Yes, the print function is accepting that multiple arguments. But in the string format, what we can say, this is the concatenation of the one string with another string, concatenation, that is a combining. So print function wise, we can say two arguments we have passed and internally it is concatenating that. But a normal like string wise, if we just talk at string data type, yes, this is one string and we are concatenating with another string by using the comma. This is concatenation. But yes, print function, whatever the arguments you are passing, finally it is concatenating that internally while giving that output. Are you clear about this? Now, one more scenario, though here, if you just try to understand, I am writing the Python program and having the fun while writing. So here, can I use the single print statement? Can I use the single print statement to split this entire content into two lines? Can we do that? In the single print, splitting that this entire content. Now let me just do this. Yeah, I can do like this also. Yes, I am writing the Python program and having the fun. That is also the same output, we'll get it. No issues. But here, and having the fun, I would like to split it to the next line. How do I do that? So same print statement, single argument we are passing. So, but I need that output like this. I'm writing the Python program and having the fun. So how do we implement this in the print program? Simple, what you can do is, you can use it /n character. So what is the /n that represents is? The strings are translated into a new line. So if I run this program, yes, you see that I'm writing my Python program. So that is one line. And whenever I present that /n, and after this next content, it is split into that new line. Is it clear that the /n, /t, so these are all some special characters are available. Anyway, whenever we move into that, the more programming will come back. You see the /t, and if I run that, this is given the tab operation, tabs, new lines. New line, how do you get it in that? The string is /n. This is also here, you see that normal n is an English letter, right? But here we are using that escape character, escape and n. Then it is understanding this is /n as a special character in the Python, but the special character which represents enter keyword. So Python interpreter is understanding, okay, this is one line and I need to move this next content into the new line. That is instruction. We are just instructing to the interpreter. And here I'm instructing to the interpreter, okay, this is the first content, and then use the tab. Then give me the remaining content. Yes, it is used the tab content here, and it is used that enter the keyword internally. They're all like instructions. Even that slash, that is a single character which you are using, that is instruction to the interpreter. So this is the try to produce that same output to the terminal. That is single quotation. So they're all, we can say that escape characters, or I mean, especially these things slash and slash d, we can say that is special characters. Are you clear on these points? Or this one, you can write it in another format also. So suppose if I move into that, this, so instead of using the slash n, I can end up this this statement here, and I can use it one more print statement and giving like this. This is also same output, right? But out of all these things, which one is recommended? Is it recommended this approach? Or is it recommended this approach? Yeah, now we are doing the same thing. Yeah, which one is recommended out of these two? Is it recommended this approach, or is it recommended using the two prints? Which one is recommended? So here, if you see, that interpreter is trying to execute the two lines, right? Two statements. It has to load into that, the memory, two statements. But here only one line. But string is the same. Argument is the same. So the process time will be improved by reducing the statements. The compilation time or the process time. Here there is no compilation. That is, compilation is the concept in the Java or a .NET. But here directly, we are not compiling any program. So what are the statements we are implementing? We are running directly on the interpreter. So that's why we say that the Python interpreter, which is directly executing the program. But if you go to the Java, we say that Java compile the program and then Java execute the program. Two levels. That's why we say that the Python is a very simple program, and it saves that a lot of time to the developers. Okay, so good. We see that's like some points understanding on the print function with the string, and a string, how do we define with a single quotation, or yeah, like understanding the print with special characters or escape characters. Now, so let's move into that. I'm going to save this file. So once this kind of activities have been completed, let's go back to this about your launcher, and you can see that's all the running programs, and you can so if you'd like to save it, yes, you can apply the save here, and it has been saved. But saving is writing this content to the disk. After writing to the disk, and if you don't want to run that program, you can come back to the Jupyter main section and running section, go to that and shut down those. So once that notebook activity has been completed, then shut down it. That is going to save that about your system resources. But still you have the playbooks. If you'd like to run it, yes, you can open it, and which is going to launching, and it is starting that. See, while starting it is using that internal resources. The RAM, it is going to use it, and the CPU process, it is going to use it. But if you'd like to save that all the resources, so make sure that once that activity has been completed, you can shut down that notebook. That is the best approach. Okay, so next playbook, what I'm going to move into, that is on the variables. Yeah, let me create one more new notebook. Yeah, I'll share these notebooks. I'll attach that in the video. in the resources section. So if you go to the particular video, yeah, like let me show here. Yeah, if you go to the particular video, in the video, so you have the resources section, right? So here I'll attach that these on the base of that video related playbooks, whatever I'm explaining. But don't try to just the using the notebook directly, but instead of that, so try to run it and work with that. Okay, so the now next concepts what we have this is we are going to understand the variables. So first of all, what is a variable? What do you understand this variable? So variable is having the concept of it. The name and value. Name, some name you can take it, and you can assign this a value to the variable, name and value. But what is the purpose of this defining these name and values? Suppose I have this some value and I would like to something like IP address, or I mean that could be any something like constant value like 5 or whatever that the value. I'm not going to talk it. Yes, you have some content, and that content you need to reuse it in the multiple statements of the Python program. Then how do you reuse it? Suppose, let me just give that. Suppose if you open that, the shell, Excel, let me open that Excel sheet. Simple one concept I would like to show that, the knowing the importance of the variable. System has become slow, so just a minute. So to open that Excel sheet, yes, it has taken the time. You know that Excel, right? So opening, so working with that Excel. Suppose here I have defined that the hello or how are you, some text I have defined. Same text I would like to use it in other cells also. How do I use it? Can I use it this? Hello world. Okay, so whatever the text I'm having that in this Excel sheet, in this particular section, I would like to use it here also, or I would like to use it here also. That means in the multiple places I would like to use it. Same content. Then how to use it? So it is, Excel point of, if you try to understand it, it is having that the concept of, you see that B is the column and the 3 is the row number. So it is storing. So background, what it is doing is, yes, the 3B, so third row and B column. So background, how it is going to storing that in the Excel sheet is, so it is going to use that allocating the name for it. What is the name? 3B is the name. And what is the value? Hello world. Or whatever you are typing that. So that is going to assign to the 3B. Suppose if I write it some content here, that content will be assigned at 6B. Or if I write some content here, 3D. So background, it is assigning automatically the variable name. That is a position. It is just placing that in the memory. Whenever you open that like Excel sheet, and if you'd like to reuse it, the same content, yes, it is assigned in the background variable name and value. But what is the variable name here? row with the column combination, it is going to identify the particular cell. Suppose if I would like to reuse this content, what is that 3b? In something 6e, I would like to use it here. What we can use it? We have the concept of it, the functions, right? Equals, and if I say that 3b, you see that I got it like hello world. I didn't type that again, that the hello world. So here I just use it that the function. So that is a b3. That is the position of it. Now you see that here if I change it any content, so it is reflecting that over in other cell. So it is reusable. The same variable, one time I have defined. I'm trying to reuse that in the different places. Wherever it is required, I just use it that and specify that function, I'll get it that. So this one, can we say that the variable or not? Here variable is declared. Variable is declared. And you are calling that variable in the remaining places. Yes, you see that this is the variable name. And you are just calling that in the remaining all the places, the variable name. The same concept in the Python, same concept in any programming. If you just take it, that variable, wherever you got it, in the database also. Suppose the Excel sheet you are working is nothing but indirectly this is the database. So these are all we say that rows, and these are all we say that columns. I've got this point. Is it clear about that variable importance now? So one time you are defining that with the variable name and a value. Name, here it is b3 or 3b, and that is a combination. And the value we have assigned is hello world. And wherever it is required, don't try to use this string in the remaining places. What you can do is just go ahead and call that variable name or invoke the variable or reuse the variable. So here I'm using that b3, wherever it is required, equals. Sorry, it is just trying to copy. Okay. So just define that equal and b3, if you enter it, yes, I'm just calling that. So here if it is changed in all the places, that will be reflected. That is the beauty of the variables. Now if you apply the same concept to the programming, let's go back to that. The PyCharm, and as we're talking that name and value, yes, you can define that some names like suppose greeting is a string. I'm going to take it and I'm going to assign that hello world. If I enter it, but this is the string. So now I have taken that one variable and I have assigned that string to this variable. Now I would like to print this content. How I can use it is print greeting. If I just call that, yes, then we are going to have this greeting string coming into that. And if I execute it, shift enter, then I got that hello world. Now what we are saying that here, this is the declaration. So I have taken that the variable name, that is a greeting, and I have assigned that string to this variable. And wherever it is required the hello world, I simply call this variable name, that is a greeting. Getting the point of it. And now the greeting here, it is a variable or is it a string to the print function? In the print function, have we defined that variable name or is it a string? Can you type in the chat window? Yeah, here we are calling the function. Calling the variable or referring the variable. Suppose here if I define this one as a string, suppose if I encoded this greeting in the single quotation, what's going to happen there? Now I got it the greeting. But now greeting is not the variable. Why? It is not the variable. We have enclosed within that a single quotation. No, you should not enclose that. So variable invocation, just whatever the variable you have defined. So just call that variable. And that variable, whatever the value it is having, so that value, it is going to getting into that. That means variables, if you just talk it, it is kind of the background, some cell where it is storing that the value of that variable. Background, if you just talk it in the Excel sheet, whatever we are understanding, yes, it is storing this content with this variable name. Now the cell name equal to greeting, and within the cell, what is the content we have is hello world. And wherever you need it, just call this cell name, that is a greeting, and you will get that output. That is the beauty of the variable. Are you clear at this point? Now, if you come back to this next point, so once this variable has been defined, can I reassign the value to the variable? Now hello world is defined and we have printed, but can I reassign the value to the variable? Yes. You can take this variable and you can reassign the value to the variable. Greeting and hi, how are you? Actually, this is, I would like to print the greeting variable over here. Now, what is the value of this, the greeting here, and what is the value of the greeting here? In the first statement, what is the value here of this greeting variable? That is hello world. And then what we are doing that? We are reassigning the value to this variable. This one we say that assigning the value. So this statement we can say declaring or initializing the variable terminologies. So get that? Initializing. First time if you are defining the variable, that is you are initializing the variable. But later we are reassigning. Greeting is already defined the variable. Now we are reassigning the value to this variable. This is reassignment, we call it. So right side, the content you are assigning to this variable. Now in the fourth line, what is that output you are going to get it in the print statement? Is it a hello world or a hi, how are you? So what it is going to print in that? Yeah, finally it is going to print it both, but in this print statement, what is the value of this greeting variable? That is hi, how are you? Yes. Yeah, first print, that is a hello world, and then we have reassigned. That means we are overriding. I mean, this is one more keyword also. So already in the memory, it is stored the greeting variable name contain the hello world value. But now what I am doing this is I am overriding the value of the hello world with hi, how are you? So in the memory, it is stored now the greeting. Yeah, reassignment is kind of that existing value you are overriding with a new value. And initialization is, yes, you are just creating in the memory with this variable name and a value. This is the creation and this is overriding. See, the terminologies, concepts okay the same, but in the programming terminologies, so they don't say that, okay, I mean, the normal terminology, okay, so the greeting equal to hi, how are you? Instead of talking that, yes, we are reassigning that value to this variable, or we are initializing that the greeting variable. See, a lot of difference. So if you like to show that as a programmer, yes, the keywords are the important. Okay, so good. So that is about initialization and reassigning that the value to the variable. Then let's go for this understanding. Suppose, yes, let me talk it. And okay, I'll take it this print statement. And I'll take it this the variable. But now if you observe that, what I'm trying to do that is, I'm going to define that new variable. Now I have defined the new variable. That is something value hello world. And I'm trying to print it. Is it a valid statement or not? Before, first we have defined the variable, then we try to use the variable. But now what I'm trying to do that here, I'm trying to use the variable, and after that I am defining the variable. Python interpreter, is it going to accept it? So now, is it going to print that hello world? So what is going to happen that? This is a new variable. I have defined that new greeting. I mean, we didn't use it anywhere in the cell, this variable. So first I'm trying to print that variable, and next I'm trying to initialize the variable. Interpreter can understand that this variable or not. So if I try to execute this, it throws error. Because, I mean, so whenever the Python is going to execute the statements, it is going to try to execute the first this line, right? Sequence, order, top to bottom. First, it is going to try to execute this line. But in the memory, this variable is not yet defined. Python interpreter doesn't know about this value. That's what he's saying, that name error, name new greeting is not defined. Yes, this new greeting variable is not yet defined. Then later we have defined. That means whenever it is trying to execute this statement, and it is going to loading into the memory. But by this time, whenever it is trying to execute it, this variable is not yet defined, and the interpreter is throwing the error. You see this line number 1 and column number the 6. I mean, in the cell 6. So if you'd like to use the variable, first you need to define it. That means you need to change the order. Then it works. So Python always use that top to bottom approach. Are you clear about this point? So whenever you are defining the Python statements, make sure that it is defined in the sequence. So that's like even before the print function also, name not found. So if you, I mean, PRNT, we are given that naming error. So it doesn't have that in the memory. Yeah, so these are all some points, understanding on the variable assignment and variable reassignment, and understanding the sequence of the statements. Yeah, the Python interpreter is going to execute that top to bottom approach. Yeah, so there are all the points we'll wind up with today. And tomorrow we go for this more into data types. So what is the string data type and integer data type? Now we understand some strings today. Yeah, this is the string data type, but we go for this more into the different data types, and whenever you are assigning that values, and whenever you are defining the variable standards, those are some concepts are available. We'll try to understand those things tomorrow. Is it clear these points today? So what we are understanding is how do we run the program? Yeah, please, Sai. So if you have any doubts, please. But that variable is already defined in the above cells. If that variable is already defined in the above cells, then it doesn't show that any error. Yeah, not specific to this cell. Suppose if it is suppose new greeting is defined here. Let me suppose in this print command, I would like to print greeting. And now I'm going to use it greeting equal to something cheers. Now, is it going to throw error or is it a valid one? Is it a valid one or is it going to throw the error? So first I define the print with the variable. Then I have assigned the value to the variable. So if I execute this program, now I see this, I got it, hi, how are you? But it is not loaded with the cheese. It is loaded in the above cells. What do you have defined here? Hi, how are you? That means above cell, it is referring that. Because these are all like the same, the statements. One notebook is same interpreter it is going to use at that. Already it is loaded into the memory, here the variable. Here if it is not defined, in above cells, now like a new greeting, whatever I was using, it was not yet defined in this notebook. That's why new greeting was throwing error. But a greeting is already defined in the above one of the cell. So here it is loaded into the memory. Now until you shut down this notebook, so until you shut down this notebook, so this contains all the variables in the memory. Whatever you have defined in these cells, everything it is loaded into the memory. That's why we got the value of this one. Is it clear? Okay, so good. So that is about variables concepts. Yeah, tomorrow we go for this more into the variables. Still, it is not yet done. So it is just understanding variable definitions, variable reassignment, and before going to use the variable, make sure that you need to define the variable. There are the three concepts we got in that. So declaring or defining the variable, reassigning the variable, and before going to use this variable, make sure that before going to use this variable, make sure that this variable is defined. Otherwise, you will be having this kind of the exceptions from the program. And we were understanding that the print statements as well as, so print with the functions, and that is a string with a single quotation, and escape character /n/t / single quotation. Then how do we use it like multiple statements in this cell? So line by line, in the same line you cannot write it multiple statements. In the single in the single line only one statement, the Python will accept it. Multiple statements you cannot do that. Yeah, so there are some points, the understanding. Tomorrow we go for this more into that, the variables and data types. So don't miss that the tomorrow class. So data types are the key things in the program. But Python, what is that approach which we have, and compare with the other programs, how the variables are managing in the Python. We'll try to understand it. So yes. Any queries, questions for today? So how are these concepts? The non-programmers, if you have anything, a non-IT background. So how do you feel that understanding all this stuff? Give me the thumbnails. How do you feel that understanding on all these concepts? Yeah, good statement. Very interesting. Okay. Okay, good. Yeah, slowly learning. Yes, don't worry. So that is, I mean, you need to suppose if you know already the programming, these keywords you can easily catch it. But if you're the first time you are, trying to learn these concepts, so injecting those keywords, it takes some time. What you need to do is the once this class is over, then go to that with the speed mode 1.5 speed mode. Yes, more enough. My classes anyway it will be slow, and if you go for that 1.5, then but one time you need to, I mean, once if you attend the class, second time if you'd like to refer that, you can use it 1.5 speed and complete that. That is 1 hour class within the half an hour. Then you will recollect once again that. That's why you need to inject the words into about your mind on this program. Then it is very easy. Any program you can learn it easily. But some little bit effort, some days that is required. Yeah, thanks to all. So that's all from my side for today. So we'll meet tomorrow and we'll continue on the data types. Yeah, thank you all.